Peace and blessings to the inspirational family members. Today, we're going to talk about the article by Black Lives Matter Street Mural in Washington, D.C. and fair use. The article is from NPR. City crews have begun painting over the Black Lives Matter Street Mural in D.C. is the article name. Is the name of the article. Okay, and the article states crews in Washington, D.C. have begun painting over the city's Black Lives Matter street mural, a notable symbol of the 2020 protests against the killing of George Floyd after a Republican bill targeting the mural threatened city funding. The phrase Black Lives Matter had been painted in June 2020 on the pavement by the city in uppercase yellow letters covering 2 blocks on 16th Street, about a quarter mile from the White House. In 2021, the mayor, Muriel Bowser, said the mural would become permanent to commemorate the protests. But last week, Representative Andrew Clyde, Republican of Georgia, introduced a bill calling for the city to paint over the mural and rename the area Liberty Plaza or lose federal funding. Okay, my opinion and comment about this article is that the Black Lives Matter organization, would people really would people really have a problem with them painting over the mural, the Black Lives Matter mural? The question that comes to mind is there's a lot of questions about the organization. Allegedly, some people say that the activists profited off the tragedy that happened to George Floyd. And Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, they started off as a good organization, speaking out injustice done to Black people by the police, and speaking out against racism. And that was a good objective in the beginning. But then things became questionable, because how can you have an organization that promotes helping the Black community issue with racism and police brutality, and nothing gets resolved? I mean, the objective, well, they did come out with police cameras, and over the years made it easy to report injustice done by police brutality, but they didn't serve, they didn't really continue with the steps taken to resolve the issue. And another opinion about Black Lives Matter, they didn't address the problems of the Black community. They were supposed to fight for an anti-Black hate crime bill that never came about. A lot of the activists profited off the suffering of Black people during the police brutality. People said that in other cases, the families did not receive compensation for losing their loved ones to police brutality. And the activists had profited all the money. Allegedly, one activist I heard, she bought her a house, and they gave millions, and it went into the pockets of the activists that ran the organization. So it came, and that put like a bad reputation on Black Lives Matter, among other things. Like they said that the protesters, they were protesting peacefully, and they had agitators that would come out and do the burning, and it just it just didn't seem like the organization really accomplished everything that they originally started and wanted to do. Stated that they were going to do, and some believe that Black Lives Matter used Black people's suffering to promote the agenda of another group. And I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that's right. I mean, how can you use another group of people to further agenda of another group of people when and leave that group issues that they're suffering injustice uh, unresolved, and so the question is, would people really miss? Would people would it anger anyone, or will people miss them painting over the mural? And to be honest, I don't think they would. The Republican senator said that he wants to name it Liberty Plaza, which still it resonates with people because we all need to be liberated. And it's a shame that activists profit off the suffering of the very people that they allege to help. And allegedly, that's what Black Lives Matter did. I mean, they made Black people the face of it, and then they promoted another agenda, and that kind of tarnished the organization. And that is wrong. How are you gonna resolve one group problem and then leave it unresolved and promote another group? And that's not fair. But it is a ongoing process to resolve the issue of race relations, racism, and injustice in America. It's a slow process, and I think it takes each individual to resolve the issue of injustice, racism, and because it's institutionalized in the system, and the system keeps it going, in my opinion. And so, but anyone with common sense, they know that Black lives do matter. All people lives matter, no matter your race, your ethnicity, your religion, your belief. But they started off on a good. They started off with a good cause, but it turned into they just didn't. It's like they abandoned the Black community and a further agenda of another group, and I don't think that's right. If you're stating a cause to fight, to liberate, and fight for equality for one group of people, and then just pick up another group over on top of them, it causes people to believe that the organization is not honest, and there's no validity to their claims. It's just like they're out for profit. But they did start off good. They did reach their objective, bringing attention to police brutality and injustice done to Black people. I can't say that about the organization, but it's just they didn't continue on further to assist with resolving the problem. I mean, if you're going to be an activist and help a cause, you want to stick with that cause and help that group of people that you're claiming that you're wanting to help. And then once they get to where they or where most of the issues are resolved, then you move on to another group. But people believe that a lot of people believe that they were not genuine, and they just use Black people as the face for another cause, for profit and to further another cause of another group, and that's not right. That is wrong, and and that's my commentary on Black Lives Matter. So really, I don't think too many people are worried about it. If they paint over it, because in our heart and common sense, we all know that all people lives matter. Black people lives matter, and Black people have suffered, and up till today, 2025. The problem still exists. There is no resolution. There is no anti discrimination bill for Black people. No anti hate crime bill. And the things that will resolve the issue are not being implemented in Congress. And Biden came in with that promise that he would pass anti-hate crime bill, but he never did it. But things, as time moves on, things, people say things will get better. We just have to keep the faith that these institutions with institutionalized racism will abandon that old way and move on to current times, and help America live up to its promise that is justice for all, um, equality for all people, and human rights. It basically comes down to human rights. How can you deny people their human rights? Your citizens. And to some Black people, they think that the way America has treated Black people over the years, they feel like they're not treated as citizens. You know, how can you be a taxpayer and be a U.S. citizen but not feel welcome in your own country? It just takes a lot of work to resolve the issue of racism. And one day, I guess we'll get there. It's still going. Just people, I think each individual can make a change and they'll further the progress. And that's my commentary on that. Oh, okay, let's see what other articles they have on NPR. Okay, they have an article about culture. Let's see what's going on. Okay, they have an article about new books that are coming out. Let's see. Here are the books we love, 350 plus great 2024 reads recommended by NPR. And it's always good to read, and for when you have children, to encourage them to read, because there are great joys of reading books. It's a good thing to do in your spare time, and also you learn about things. You learn about a lot by reading a book. Oh, okay. Then they have an article, before the internet, how the LA Public Library helped readers pick their next novel. Let's look at that article. Okay, before the internet. Let's see. It's good to look back at the old way of doing things. Before the internet made book reviews widely accessible, where would curious minds go to find information about a news novel, subject matter, or a plot? If you lived in the Los Angeles area, you could reference the Los Angeles Public Library Index of fiction book review cards. The reviews collection or thousands of index cards contain library staff members' thoughts and opinions about new fiction releases that library carried. The library system was used starting in the 1920s and into the 1980s. So basically, before the internet, people would go into the public library index and find fiction book review cards. and that's interesting, But with the internet, it makes things more efficient, because you have a lot of books out here. I mean, books are valuable. I mean, you have books that's in the millions that have a whole wealth of knowledge in them for you to read. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why do they charge so much to get an informative book? You got books out here that cost $2,000, $3,000. I mean, is it a way to maybe because so much truth in the book, they make it hard for the average man to get it. Like they say, if you want to hide something, put it in the book. There is a wealth of knowledge in reading, and a lot of books have a lot of things that you can learn about past history. So it's good to read. And it expands your knowledge about things. Okay, and another article we can look at is pop culture. We have Bill Burr. He's a comedian. And he stated in this article, it said, Bill Burr, I am a mess of a human being, but it makes for good comedy. Yeah, I mean, I never heard of him. I never seen Bill Burr, but I've heard of his name. And it's always good to look at a comedian and laugh sometimes. And then 5 years after COVID closed, theaters, movies are still struggling to climb back. And when COVID was out during the pandemic, a lot of people stayed at home. And then when they lifted the restrictions, a lot of people came out. And then I think a lot of people just got used to staying at home. People became more creative during the pandemic being at home. You got a lot of home entertainment systems. You can look at a good movie at home, with the family. And I think a lot of people just got used to doing things at home with their family and being creative. And it's good to do things with family. And during that time, a lot of people were, I mean, it was scary. A lot of people were close knit, closer to their family, and people appreciated their family more, and being thankful for the family that they still have, during the COVID. And so I think after the year, after COVID, people just still used to that habit. That was a scary time. And it makes you get closer to your loved ones during critical times, and you just want to cherish every moment with them. So it's kind of hard to break out of that. But during that time, I did go to the movies with my son. I had to get out the house when they lift those restrictions. But it's slowly getting back, to where people want to go out every now and then. But it was just a troubling time, a very critical time. Okay, and the next article is King Charles' life. He was talking about his playlist, the soundtracks that he listened to, and the article says King Charles III has admitted he is not impervious to a generational earworm like Kyle Minogue's can't get you out of my mind head. Wait a minute, can't get you out of my head after sharing a playlist that represents the soundtrack of his life. And nowadays everybody keeps a playlist, of the oldies, old music, and because music's just not good like it used to be. It every now and then the current music has like an artist to put out something pretty good, but most of the music is just not like it used to be. Okay, let's look at another article and talk about it this evening. And peace and blessings this evening. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, this one article is what's making us happy. A guide to your weekend reading, viewing, listening, and gaming. That's mostly what people do now. After the COVID, a lot of people just got in tune with relaxing at home. Being creative. and it says a guide to your weekend reading, viewing and listening and gaming. And a lot of adults be pushing that game system. PlayStation 4 and 5. It's more than just kids. A lot of the adults play the games too. Yeah. And okay, here's one article: terrible but bingeable TV shows. March 6th, 2025. What is it about a show that turns you into bitter tender that keeps you dutifully watching every last episode long after the train has jumped the track? And I used to, I don't look at TV like I used to, but I used to look at those certain episodes that were good, and I used to try to catch every episode, and some of those TV shows are pretty good. And right here in this article, 2025 is a year of on screen superheroes, but where are they? March 5th, 2025, with Thunderbolts Superman. That must be a new Marvel coming out. The Fantastic Four, First Steps, and more. 2025 is shaping up to be a year of superheroes across film and TV. But Daredevil, Born Again, shows a hesitance to embrace the hero in superheroes. Yeah, yeah, I know. My son, he loved the Marvel, and it's a good family thing to watch those Marvel movies, and some of them are pretty good. Like Fantastic Four, that was pretty good. The previous movies they had, and trying to think of another one that was pretty good. Iron Man, but I think I heard that there's supposed to be another episode of Iron Man, but I'm not sure. I have to look that up. And that I hear that they're in the works of coming out with another Black Panther movie. With a new Black Panther. And so those Marvel comics movies are pretty good. Oh, okay, let's move on to our next article. Okay, let's look at health maybe. Yeah, let's look at health. Okay, in our conversation in this article about health, they're talking about right here. One of the articles that said as Rubio announces that 83% of U.S. aid contracts will be canceled. Well, all that money laundering they were doing, the Democrats with U.S. aid, and it's a shame because a lot of those, they portrayed the money going to help people, and then, and somebody they don't know where the money went. It didn't go to the people that was supposed to help, and that's a shame. And a lot of people are saying like, you pay your taxes, and you mean you can't get no help from the government in a disaster. Like a lot of people were talking about what happened in North Carolina when that storm came through. And then up to this day, I heard recently that the people are still living in tents. They lost their homes. And the fires in Hollywood, in California, those wildfires in California, they didn't even have no water to put the fire out. I mean, that is just something. It was just during the Biden administration, it was just disaster, 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 and then on up to now to the Trump administration. But there are a lot of optimistic people, that say maybe things will get better. We just have to stay uplifted and stay positive. That's all we can do. Oh, okay, and then here's another article in Health News. It states that more black teens are in mental health crisis. This church tries to help them heal. I mean, no matter what color the child is, I'm glad in this article a church has stepped up to help them. I mean, so many things that these young people face. Not only adults. The way, times are. Even adults have a hard time with it. So are the children and teenagers and young adults, they do need a little bit more support, and, the music that they're listening to, and, the music, the entertainment, I mean, it's just, these are, sometimes weird times, but going further in the article, March 10th, 2025, at First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem, New York, a therapist was fielding 10 calls a week from parents of teens who needed mental health help. Now, the church is part of a national pilot intervention and study to address suicide risk among black teens. And, I noticed a lot of these young people, it's hard to ignore, a lot of them are pretty violent toward one another. I guess it's some people say the rap music and the entertainment. And it's a shame that we can bring these black young people together, and it starts in the home, and it also starts in the schools. We have to teach them to have respect for one another. And I think they look at the way the adults act. It's just, it is a hard time for these young people to grow up in because, people it just seems like people don't have the care and love for one another anymore, or show empathy for one another anymore. So you can understand how a young person would be lost in these times, and it's good that this organization, um, this church has stood up and decided to take steps, along with a therapist in New York in that area, to help with the issue of mental health with black teens. And it's sad. And I think a lot of them, they feel that it depends on the home they come out of, and a lot of them, they feel like they're not loved. And I remember when I was coming up, they used to have those commercials, but this was in the 70s when I was born. And in the 70s, they used to say, tell your child positive words, tell your child that you love them, and that should resonate in the black community also, no matter what race the child is, if you're the parent, always make your children feel loved, because so much negativity out here. It's hard to be positive, and then when these young people, they look at TV, and I can understand, a black young person, especially a young man, a young boy, he look at the news, and it causes a lot of anxiety. Um, I mean, every time you look at the news, a black person getting killed, per se, by a police officer, police brutality. They show it, and these young people, they can see it. I mean, they need that extra support, and it's good that when a young person has an adult in their life, a parent that addresses those needs, or a relative, because the children do matter. I remember a long time. It's not like when I was growing up. The parents just, you go to work, and the kids were just, you had to monitor them. But it's not like today. I mean, it's like you got to really keep an eye on your children. And because we're in critical times. But that is good that this organization decided to step up and try to try to address the needs of Black teens. And, not only them,